Alrighty, happy Monday, folks. See a few people piling in right away. Anybody that might be new to this, we do this Monday through Friday, or well, I should say every market day, noon Eastern. So open forum live Q&A. So if you have questions right away, get those right in. If not, be patient, and we'll get to some stuff that's relevant to trade idea scanning in the market. Just give everybody a moment to come in, settle in, see how many join their stream with us. So again, if you have any questions right away, don't be shy. Please get those in right away for me. If not, bear with me a moment and get to it. So again, anybody with questions, get those in. Give me another 10 seconds or so, and we will get rocking and rolling if not. All right, no questions coming in right away, so we can get right to it. Obviously, an interesting start to the day here. We'll just go with some general market talk. But before I start, I'd like to say I'd rather discuss trade ideas, software, and functions and stuff like that versus just talking the market, because you can get a market recap or thoughts on the market from a million people out there. And, nothing special here, more so than anybody else as far as that goes. What's special here is the software that we're talking about. So, but with that said, I guess we'll start with SPY. Why not? It's as good as any place to start. But I'll keep hounding you all that if you have trade ideas questions, please get those in. So, the trend is our friend till it's not, and blah, 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 all that good stuff like that. Where is my drawing tool? Why is that not pinned anymore? Isn't that something? All right. Anyways, what I was going to highlight here as my drawing tool loads is, we're in an uptrend, long time, bull market, all those things like that. Here we go. We get these pullbacks. I mean, this was barely even a pullback, let's be honest here. And you get people, shouting out into the wind and whatever else, how it's all over and all those things like that. So, Alex, all right, let's get right to it. Then we'll skip this market recap. How can I add Holly to my channel bar? So there is a Holly channel if you want to use. I don't think that's the best way to go about Holly. I think you want to load. See, I've got Holly here and the trades that or the alerts that it's making here into my own layout. I think that's the best way to go about it. So if you're asking how I would do this, I would go new, premium AI strategy trades window, which will open this window here. It's now duplicate. Yours is going to have different defaults in there for what columns you're showing. You can go through and adjust the columns as you see fit. You may find one set of columns valid today or usable today, and you may decide to change that around in a week, a month, so on and so forth from now. But if you right click and you come to columns, you'll see the master bank on the right and what you're displaying on the left, and you can simply click to go from right to left to display it, or from left to right to undisplay it. And that's what I would be doing as far as Holly goes. Now, look, you can go to new channel bar, and there's Holly here like that if you want, and give you a look at the way we've set up internally a Holly channel itself. There's also, if you go new doc channel bar, you can see the long trades this way or the short trades that way from Holly, or all the way down here is just the full Holly channel under the show more. But again, I'd rather load Holly into my own channel or scans, whatever you want to call it. This is my own layout. It's not a channel necessarily. I've never loaded it into a channel bar, but that's how I would do it personally. Of course, to each their own on that. But I do know we were talking about on Friday, we built some scans and went over some scan building and stuff like that together. So, if you want to have your own stuff up there that you created, that you're working on, and then load Holly as a complement to all that. Again, what I would do is the new premium AI strategy trades window. Make sure to take that one right there, the premium strategy trades window, and load that way. I would also just, when you load that, make sure that none of these filters are checked here. Sometimes there's a default here to show only the profitable trades. So, I like to see the whole blotter personally, especially you get something that's, it's gone negative and maybe we're going to see it rebound, right, and do a trade around, so on and so forth here. So that's my 2 cents on that, my own personal preference. But I'll leave that to you, of course. Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome. If you have other questions on it, let me know, of course, And anybody else with questions, don't hesitate. Don't be shy, right? Please get those questions in for me. That's, what I'm here for. That's the entire point of what we're doing with this, right? So please don't be shy when it comes to the questions. Like I said, outside of that, if there's no questions coming in, I'll talk some market stuff, I guess, people like to hear it for whatever reason. My biggest thing is this when discussing the overall market. Again, there's like 1,000 people out there talking about the market, and you're going to have, I don't know, 1/3 of them are still bullish and 2/3 are going to be bearish. And most of them are just going to have got you talking points, not going to point to any real data, or they're going to point to cherry pick data, so on and so forth. And so you get 1 million people out there talking about the markets, and everybody thinks they've got some special insight to it. And, shocker, they don't. But I guess, with that, is it possible to access pre-market data for alerts? Absolutely, positively, yes, it is. So a couple of different ways we can do that here. We can build an alert window. For those that aren't familiar or don't quite concept what alert windows are, it's a twofold window, meaning you have an alert event like a new high, a new low, so on and so forth. And then you get a set of filters here that coincide with that alert. So the alert event has to be happening while your filters are met. Filters are, like a price range, a distance from, SMAs and RSI, stuff like that. And you'd assign them minimum, maximum values, so on and so forth. For the pre-market, we have specifically pre-market highs, pre-market lows, and we have some positions in pre-market range above or below highs and lows in the pre-market. There are some data points that will work in the pre-market, some will not work in the pre-market. So for example, if I delete that pre right there, we see new high. That won't work in the pre-market. You want that pre-market high, all right? But we have other alerts that'll work in the pre-market, our running up family and our running down family. So I type running here, you're going to see running up now, running down now. And most alerts have a mirror of themselves, or at least bullish and bearish alerts mirror each other. And they're indicated by the green and the red here on the icons. And so these ones here specifically will work in the pre-market. There's some filters that do and do not work in the pre-market. The one big one, this relative volume filter does not work in the pre-market. Not only does it not work, if you use it in a scan, it will block data, period. However, this relative volume alert will work in the pre-market. So, some ins and outs like that. If you shoot me an email to info@trade-ideas.com, did I type that right? Sorry. Yeah. If you shoot me an email there, I can get you a PDF of what does and does not work in the pre-market. But yeah, we can absolutely build something like that. Well, just let me build something out real fast, just for the sake of building something out. We'll look at the history of it real quick. So let's go with pre-market highs. All right, we're going to add that. Now, I will say this. Sometimes having multiple selected alerts in a scan is okay. Sometimes it's not, because you can get an overload of alerts, and the alerts will work independent of each other, but always with the filters, right? So let me hide that one there, and then we're going to add some running up stuff. We're going to make it a bullish scan. RUNG up. We'll put the running up now. We're going to add that alert, and we're going to put the running up. We're going to add that alert, and we're going to put the running up intermediate, and we're going to put that alert. So we've got 3 different alerts I could pick off, and then we can, come into the filters here. There's some stuff that I have in my own default setup here. Everybody starts with a certain set of defaults. I've changed mine around. You can always do that as well as you want, So let's just say a minimum of $1. Let's say it had to have traded 75,000 shares on the day. Because, in the pre-market, you want to try to catch stuff, quote, early. But, if something just has like a quick, $2,000 share pop and then doesn't really trade anything more, but clearly we're not interested in that, right? But, we want to get something before, if it starts moving, and we want to get it before it hits, maybe 200, 300, 400,000 shares also. So it's that fine line, give and take with building any scan, pre-market specifically. Maybe we want a little more volume metrics in there. Make sure something's kind of trading now. So we've got this 1 minute volume filter here. It's on a percent basis of a 10-day average. So it's a rolling 1 minute. It's not looking at candles. So it's just looking at a 10-day historical baseline, looking back 1 minute on that. It's done at a percent. So 100 is normal, 200 is 2 times, 300 is 3 times, 400 is 4 times, so on and so forth. So we could add that filter, and we could say, well, it's a pre-market and things could be moving in the pre-market, but as compared to regular session, not so much. So maybe we throw like a 50 in here or something like that, right? And then I don't know what else is good that we might want to consider in the pre-market. Let's clear this out. Just going to scroll down real quick here. Let's see. Is there anything else that maybe I want to take a look at? We could look at change here over the last minute, right? So we go 1 minute percent. We can add that filter. We just say we want to see stocks that are up, at least 0.25%. Let's not say the last minute. Let's say the last 5 minutes. Let's go back. Change 5 minutes in a percent. Let's add that filter. Let's look at stuff that's maybe up. It's a look back period. Again, it's not a candle. And so here we got the basis of a scan that would work in the pre-market. We're going to go ahead and select that out. And then we're going to run the history here. This is probably going to alert a lot of stuff, especially once the regular session comes. So we're going to use a time frame. Let's look at, the oldest alerts or earliest alerts, 4 a.m. Let's go look at, let's put 30 p.m. in here like that, and we'll roll that out. It's going to load for us. Oh, and man, there's even more available with that, having just nailed that narrow spot. But let's expand it out a little bit, and let's take a look at what we got going on here. Oh, wow. So it only goes back. So one of the things we have to realize with the history is that it'll repeat stocks over and over again. So you can see like the SQQ doing all kinds of stuff here. And if I right click and I go show more, or I go to more, it'll keep pushing it back based on the time frame that I asked for. So we go back. Let's go back a couple and see if we see anything real early. All right, back around the 7 o'clock hour. So AL. Alba properties, pre-market, so it was trying to get a little rebound here on that gap down. Couldn't get a lot of traction. TVGN. We're probably not going to see a lot of follow through on any pre-market stuff here, given what we had in the pre-market and all that. MU probably got beat up in the pre-market, right? Yeah. A little pop here. The alert came in 96.44. Made its way up to just over 97. So, things like that can be done for the pre-market. So if you have other pre-market questions, throw those in there. Alex, I'm having trouble understanding how that is going to work. Sorry, still confused. I'm not able to practice yet on trade ideas for that reason. Which part are you still having a little trouble with, Alex? If you be specific, is the Holly stuff still? Because Holly's here. You just load Holly and you watch, and you decide when the alerts come in real time, if you like it or if you don't like it, essentially. Holly looks at the whole market. It's got its strategies. When something meets the strategy, we get the alert in real time. There's no other programming or anything else that you really need to do with Holly. It's simply load and decide how it does or does not fit into your trading plan and strategies. And if you have on stock I like, you notice that there's stock race one I like. So how can I add stocks to this window? So the my liked function works like this. We have these hearts in the top left of the chart. If you click on a heart, it adds it to the my liked list. So I've got this top list here, and it's only looking at the my liked list. If I come to the configure, And it doesn't want to load. Come into the configure again. There we go. And we go to symbols list. You can see only the following lists here. Only the following lists. And I got the My Like Personal. We can add lists here. We have many pre-made lists, and then you'll have your personal list you created here in addition to the My Liked, all in alphabetical order here. And so if you've created it, it'll say personal in parentheses. If we've created it, it won't say anything. And then you go ahead and you click on one of these, and now you see it populates here. And if we want to use it in the scan, we put a check mark in it just like that. And then, so yeah, Alex, if it was about the holly, we just load the holly, right? We just load it here. That's it. And we watch as alerts come in real time. We'll get the entry time. The second it happens, it comes into us with the symbol and the price. And we really just make a decision from there if this is an alert we want to participate in or alert we don't want to participate in. That's the thing with holly. And of course, anybody with questions, let me know, right? Get those questions in here. When you buy a stock from E-Trade, you'd need to use the Brokerage Plus interface here. So that's this here, Brokerage Plus. So you could load that window by going to New, Brokerage Plus. You select that. You'll get a window that looks like this. It's obviously, like I said, mine is set up for me. It's going to have defaults for you. You'll probably have like this profit continuum up top here that I don't particularly like, so I get rid of things like that. And then you come to brokers, right? You got Alpaca, Live and Paper, E-Trade, Interactive Brokers, and a paper trader. You connect to E-Trade. It'll walk you through some steps for logging into E-Trade through the web portal. Once you have done that, any stock positions that you own will populate here in the Positions tab. Just make sure, check the filters up here, account, strategies, stuff like that, right? There's accounts tab here. You can see, information about your account there. If you have any orders, you'll see them populate in here. What you see here is I'm connected to the simulator right here. So just messing around in the simulator today like I do most days. And so you can see different items that are in there from me using the simulator today. And so that's what you would do there. And then, as far as E-Trade goes on the connection, aside from what I just showed you, bear with me and I will get you a link to the user's guide section on E-Trade. And paste. If you have a position in a stock and you click on the chart, it'll show here, like somewhere up in here, I forget where, and it'll say, I think how many shares you have and how much you're up or down, basically. So like here, I can let me take a mock position right here in this paper account. We'll take MU and we'll buy some MU. Let's get 100 shares of MU. Paper trading market day. I'm on the buy side, so I'm going to send it. And then look, you see how it says up here, plus 100 shares. I bought it at 91.81, and I'm down X amount of dollars right now after buying it. And that's where it would show on the chart like that. So any chart that you own a stock of, you'll see it just like that populate there. Can I talk about the race? Yeah, absolutely. And Alex, keep the questions coming. I'll keep circling back to those as well. All right. Yeah. So stock races at their core are top list, right? So if I right click this and I go to configure, I can go to advanced configure, and you're going to see a top list configure here. And so I built this, based on a number of filters in here, and we can come to the Windows specific filters to see what I've done. And I said, find me stocks between $2 and $30, trade at least 400,000 shares on the day. This is a Bollinger Band component I put in it, so it's 85% above the low of the lower band. And I put a 1 minute volume metric in here just because I don't want to see stocks that trade like, let's say we get 5,000 shares, they trade in a block, and they don't trade for 10 minutes, they trade for another 3,000 shares in a block, and they trade for half an hour, another 50 shares, things like that. So I want to see something, it's active, right? And while 400,000 shares, depending on the time of day, may or may not be liquid, I want to see stuff towards the earlier side of where they're moving on the shares, right? And then I can decide from there, not liquid, yes, liquid, like the chart, don't like the chart, doesn't work for my risk plan, does work my risk plan. And so that's the, the basis of that going on right there. And then once the scan has found those stocks, I say, all right, scan, I want you to sort it with the ones that are up the most from the open at the top. That's how I want them displayed. And so it's the topless component of it here. And then once I've done that, in the race setup here, I've set up for 3-minute races personally. Now, the reason why I did 3 minutes was I used to use 15-minute charts a lot in my day trading. I don't anymore, but 3 5-minute races equaled I used 5-minute and 15-minute charts. So 3 5-minute races equal to 15-minute chart. I moved away from 15-minute charts over the last, I don't know how many months or a year, whatever it is, but the 3-minute race still works for me. I'm happy to have it. I also like that as it cycles through the races, I get this nice watch list over here of winners. I've got it sorted by top 10 winners. I could right click and just go show all winners. It'll show me all the winners in order that they've won. And then, puts a dash next to it with the number of how many times it's won, including that race that it most recently won. That makes for a nice watch list through the day. So, let me finish going over the race setup here. I'm doing this based on a total change from open. So I want to see stuff that's the strongest based on a total cumulative change from the open. And I have it in descending order from the most up from the open, moving down on the race itself. And we can see that here. These are stock. These stocks are the ones that are meeting the underlying top list and up the most from the open, and what's leading in the race right now based on a total cumulative up from the open. So that's how that works like that. And again, makes a nice watch list here. So why IBO? Let's just say, all right, well, this is a terrible chart to illustrate this, but what I was going to show is that you get a stock that makes a run up and maybe makes a bit of a pullback. It's not on the race anymore, but I've got it here on the watch list, right? And maybe I set a price alert at a level that I say, if it gets back to this level, I want to be notified because I might be interested in again. Obviously, this has just had an absolute epic collapse, and the odds of this coming back into, doing anything at this point is as close to zero as possible, just not going to happen. But you never know. I don't know. Maybe iCAD is going to be a better example. iCAD, all right? So I don't even think it's on the race right now, right? But if I just, I said to myself, gee, this takes out this 305 level, maybe I'm interested again. I could right click, set that price alert there, set the price I want, and watch it from there like that. So that's the short and skinny on races more than less. If you have other specific questions on it, do not be shy, get those in. I see lots of questions have come in, so bear with me. I'm going to go right down in the order of them. So just bear with me with your patience. Thank you so much. How can I connect trade ideas, the last version of Interactive Brokers? You just need to have Interactive Brokers Pro account, not the Lite. And you need to have a funded account. You need to have the data package from them. And this is a video / the user's guide section on connecting to Interactive Brokers with trade ideas. And so you'll do it through TWS. You'll have TWS open. You'll need to configure the API. I go over all that in that video there. Bear with me, and I could probably find you a screenshot of the data you will need, and you can take a screenshot of that yourself. Bear with me. Okay, here we go. So you want to take a screenshot of this, anybody that needs. All right, these are under the quote bundles when you're in the IBKR portal. Look for quote bundles, all right, and the data subscription packages, whatever. And you want these two here that I've got the arrows and the checks in. All right. Now, I was once upon a time told you can just use this $10 one and it will work fine. I've always used this one here because I wanted time and sales from IB. And I took this one because, the commissions are nothing. I'm making commissions. It's free for me, essentially. I don't pay that $10. So it's just $4.50 a month I pay. But I was told if you don't care about time and sales, I was told you can just use this alone. I don't know. I've always used both of these personally. So that's, the short and skinny I can give you on that. Shrink this up a little bit, move it back and minimize it. And again, I'm just going to keep going in order of questions, so bear with me. We talked about the races. We just talked about internet brokers. We talked about getting that on the charts for you. Of course, Alex, that's what we're here for. And I know, I suspect, Alex, you have a decent leg of knowledge up on the average person for the market and software. So you give yourself another couple of days of coming to these, and you're just going to kind of roll with the software real fast. I think you'll be surprised at how much stuff starts clicking over the next couple of days for you. So, appreciate you showing up here like that. I found a stock that traded in a particular way, i.e. volume pattern. If I find a stock that is trading in that way I like, if I find a stock that's trading that way, I want to do some volume breaking out in the volume using pattern that I like. Is it possible to copy these parameters? Yes. All right. So it took me a second because you got those, spaced all out. So I'm going to show you folks a function here, or the tool that we have here that we call our stocks like this page. Bear with me. And so I think what you're asking here is that, I saw the stock XYZ doing, whatever, volume and all this stuff like that. And is there a way for me to see what the parameters were on that? Hopefully that's what you're asking here. And there is, and it's a way to back engineer a scan. But what I will caution is this. Don't over-engineer it, right? Because if you make it just perfect to catch that one stock, you won't catch any other stocks, right? The odds of two stocks doing exactly the same thing at the, ever, they're not good. So here's this page. We call it the stocks like this page. Copy. I'm going to share this page here. And then again, everybody's questions, just bear with me. I will get to everybody. I do promise. So what we have here is the stocks like this, right? And so let's just say, for example, well, we got this YIBO, and this thing went crazy today, all right? So YIBO, and let's just say I want to see what it was doing at 9:40 this morning Eastern time, and it's going to give me a 5-minute snapshot of every alert that happened in the minimum maximum values during that 5-minute snapshot of all of our filters. So I press that, and here we go. And these are the only 2 alerts at that time that would have caught this stock. No other alert in our database would have caught this stock at that time, all right? And then if we scroll down, we can see every filter that was met here, right? And so let's bring up that YIBO, all right? And so this thing actually didn't really get going until a little bit after that. So let's change this, right? Let's change this out. Let's go with 50 here. It didn't get going until a short bit after that. Now look how many alerts it met then when it really started cooking, right? And so this is a way we could back engineer and say, all right, this thing, let's see, had the running up now alert, and I might consider that for trying to capture a stock that did this. Here's the price range on it. Its relative volume actually wasn't doing a whole lot at that point still, right? It was still just building up. But I bet if we look at the relative volume and, 10 minutes past this, we see the relative volume is real high. In fact, it hadn't even done any shares to this point almost, right? We may even have to go further out with this. Let's go with 55 and let's see what happens. Let's see how much 5 minutes changes this. There's still a whole lot of alerts there. Relative volume, all of a sudden we went from below 1 to just above 1. Now we're just above 1 to above 5 on that, right? And now all of a sudden we're at 200,000 shares, right? And we were below 100,000 before. So this is how you go back and you can re-engineer a scan, and then you could take these minimum maximum values and maybe do some rounding and some cushioning. Because like I said, if you just start to do it exactly as things are here and you put too many filters in, you're never going to be able to capture it exactly. You're never going to be able to capture other moves exactly like this one was. The idea is to get a bank of stocks that will alert, that have the possibility of the move like what you wanted and trying to capture as early as possible. And then you got to be a trader from there, right? So I think, Carolyn, that was what you were asking. If not, if you can please rephrase, right? And we'll shoot back over it again. Edwin, happy Monday. Charles Schwab's, can I connect to account with trade ideas? Not directly. You can only use our external linking function, which means that if you click on a stock in trade ideas, it'll send it over to Charles Schwab, but it cannot be a web-based app. It has to be a download-based app. So Charles Schwab these days, is Thinkorswim, right? So, you want to use the Thinkorswim app, and that would do that. And here's a video that I actually did on covering external linking. I go over Thinkorswim, TradingView, and trader workstation in this video. But our linking it's generally the same across the board. Not everything will have a rule. Not all the rules work anymore. But you gotta, in the video I go over, you must start both trade ideas and the target program by right-clicking and selecting run as administrator. So here you go like this. So right-click, run as administrator for both the target program and trade ideas. Once you run as administrator, then you would come to the menu bar, right? You would go to tools, external linking. You would click add link, and then you go over to either the chart or the order entry or the symbol entry box. You press shift. Don't click anything else. If you click, you'll end up getting a pink window. So you get a pink window, and then you got to press OK to start over again. You just hover your cursor over it, press shift, and then from there you decide, do I need a rule? You might look through here. Sometimes you might need to use alternative method, beginnings cut off. So there may be some combination, some troubleshooting with that. I will say, we link to basically anybody's app. Some are a little finicky than others, but we don't, if it's a web-based app, not possible. So that is the short and skinny for linking there, Edwin. So all this you're showing us in the education platform, right? I have a video on Holly that goes over all the Holly stuff I discussed, Alex. The E-Trade part I shared from the user's guide itself. We have videos or tutorials on most stuff for software itself. People start asking very specific questions. We have over 500 data points, right? So if someone, people can start asking some pretty specific questions we're simply not going to have pre-done content for. But I think we cover a good basis of stuff. Personally, I have some videos that I've done on the side myself to show different things, like, for example, creating cross scans and stuff like that. But if people, really want to try to dig at us, I'm sure they're going to come across plenty of stuff we don't have necessarily pre-done content on. So we went over the races. We talked about the stocks like this. We talked about linking Charles Schwab. How should I update TI premium software? If you want to go from basic to premium, shoot an email to info@trade.com. You shoot an email there and say, hey, I'm looking to upgrade, and our accounts and billing department will assist you with that. Edwin says, thank you. All right, so I'm guessing we covered you well there. All right, I think I got to everybody's questions to this point anyways. If I didn't, or if you want more from me than what I had given you, please just pop it in, maybe rephrase, add to it, something like that for me. Sorry, I'm just scrolling back through the questions here, make sure I got everybody's. And, I see there's a decent crowd here. So please, if you've got questions, don't be shy. Get the questions in for me, right? Whether you're watching on Twitter or you're watching on YouTube. This is kind of my wheelhouse here on helping users navigate the system, get software down. And it's important for us to get the important things for you, right? And I just got to say that IYBO is going to make a liar of me. I said, there's close to a 0% chance this thing would come back. And here it is going to make a liar of me. This thing's already back up to about $8 right now. It just goes to show you how wacky the market is and how wacky any individual stock can be. This is crazy, to be honest. Industrial machinery manufacturing. All right. How do I implement the race in my own strategies? I scan with the race here, and I click through stocks. Sometimes I'm day trading, sometimes I'm not. I'm not doing a lot of day trading lately because my work with trade ideas has kind of got me, has me preoccupied with a lot of stuff here supporting users. So I'm really kind of just swing trading at this moment. I mean, lucky for me, we're in a nice bull market overall, so that works out to be fine. I do like to day trade. I'll be honest, I'm not very good at it, but I'm always improving, or so I'd like to believe. But I go through charts and look at where stock is, what it looks like historically. Is there room? What's the volume like? All those things like that, like any other trader. And then I decide how it does or doesn't fit into a risk plan of mine and move along from there. That's how I implement it. Like anything else, I'm going to go through chart. Sometimes I'm slow. I miss something. That happens. I like to say always, I'd rather miss out on the upside than participate on the downside by rushing and getting into a stock. That is never in the long term worked out well for me personally. I can't speak for anybody else, of course. We talked about that. Good info. All right, Bill, thanks. Appreciate that. I have multiple monitors. How do I group a set of windows together so I can move them whatever monitor I want? And secondly, can I have multiple filters running at the same time? Yeah, you can have as many filters in a scan as you want. It's just all the filters have to be met in order for a stock to get on the scan, as far as that part goes. And then, so like you'll see I have these all grouped together, and I have them tabbed and things like that. So I'm going to go over how to do that real quick. Bear with me. Something like that. And so what we're going to do here is this. Actually, let me minimize stuff. Bear with me. I want to minimize so I have a clear screen. We're going to minimize all. And then let's just start with get some charts going. So I'm going to, let's say, open a bunch of free floating charts here. Chart. So I got 3 charts here, right? And let's change the time frame so we can see things. So let's give this a 3-minute chart. Let's give this a 5-minute chart. And we got a daily chart here. And I'm going to right click and I'm going to go ahead, duplicate into new doc window. All right. And it's got this window here that I just duplicated into it. And that was a daily chart. So we see a daily chart here, free floating still, daily chart there inside that. I'm going to go ahead and close the free floating one. All right. And I can rename this doc if I right click. I can change the title of the doc up here if I want. All right. And we'll call it, I have one called charts already. So we'll call it charts 2. I'll press OK. Bang. Got it in there. And now I'm going to right click this one here, the 5-minute one. I'm going to duplicate into charts 2, right? Because I've renamed that doc. Now they're tabbed behind each other. I can get rid of that 5-minute chart. And then we'll do charts 2 on this 3-minute one. Right click, charts 2. Now they're all tabbed behind each other, right? And so we can move these around. You can see a little tool appear here in the middle as I shift things around. So I grab it. And now you can see where it's going to want to display it, right? And I do the same thing here. And now 1, 2, 3, all next to each other. And then I can size them how I want. Or if I wanted to even do something like this, I could take the tab here and I could say, I want the 3-minute above the 5-minute like that and have it like this. And that's how you can put them all together in a container window, what we call docking, and move them around, so on and so forth. So let me know, Rode, if you got other questions, if that helps handle that for you. And of course, anybody with any questions at all, don't be shy, right? I'm here to assist best I can on questions that you have based on the software. I like to say everybody's got a agenda on this planet, right? My agenda is a conditional one, right? I want to get as many people subscribing to Trade Ideas as possible. However, folks subscribe to Trade Ideas and they're not doing well with the software, that doesn't really benefit us as a company, right? We can't promise gains in the market or anything like that, but we show functionality. We can talk charts, we can talk scanning, we can talk market breadth, all kinds of different items that we can talk about within the software and get you at least up to date as far as that stuff goes and get you a footing for those. After that, beauty is in the eye of the chart holder, beauty is in the eye of the scan holder, and all those things like that. So again, don't be shy, folks. Get some questions in here for me. It's been a great set. I can't even believe it's already 12:40 already. It's been a phenomenal session. I really do greatly appreciate all the questions that come in here. It makes my time pass faster in this, and I think it's really important to have that kind of community vibe where we can ask these questions, learn and grow together in the market and the software like that. Of course, if no questions come, I don't know, we'll go back to some general market talk. I mean, so you got this Apple chart up here. It's amazing. The rest of the market, had that big gap down. Yeah, there's a pretty decent recovery from that gap down. We're kind of flopping around. But funny that Apple's trying to close this gap from the other day here. Good stuff. Good stuff. Apple's doing its best job to hold up the market. Or is the market doing its best job to hold up Apple? I never know. Chicken and egg kind of stuff. The market looks bad. I mean, we made an all-time high on Friday, right? I mean, kind of hard to say the market looks bad when we just made a new all-time high, right? I think, I think fear sells, unfortunately, for whatever reason, logic and reason or not. But I mean, look at that trend, right? Pull back? Nope, I don't think so. Pull back? Not even close. And this was a nothing pullback. I mean, you had so many people talking about market collapses, and that was a huge nothing burger of a pullback. Now, look, we may see a new bear market this year. It's entirely possible. A bear market is going to happen at some point. But before we can even get a bear market, first, we have to have a legit pullback of 3 to 7%, right? We ain't seen that, right? Then we need to have a correction of 10% to 15%. It's been a long time since we've seen a correction, a long time, all right? And then finally, should all those things happen and we move to 20% off all time, then we would get a bear market. So I just, if you're a swing trader, if you're a real long-term market participant, that is absolutely nothing, completely nothing. Now, with all that said, a pullback has to start somewhere, right? Could this be it? The pullback did not start here, right? That was not a pullback. I don't care what anybody says. That was not a pullback. But it has to start somewhere, right? And the reason this wasn't a pullback is because we made a new all-time highs after that, okay? Now, if we pull back here, if we sell off here and we continue to pull back, we pull back somewhere into here. We got ourselves a real pullback, right? We get down here, start to move into, move towards correction territory, right? And then we can start to move into bear territory, right? We got to get through all that stuff before I'm going to flip a script on being, bearish. Cautious, always cautious. That's why we have stops in place. That's why we have risk management in place, right? And I bet if you search right now, stock market crash, you're going to find 1,000 people telling you why the market's about to crash or it's crashing now. And I bet of those 1,000 people, every one of them said that we were crashing here and here and here and here and here and here and every other one. And I would bet that they were right less than 0.1% of the time in every market crash they ever called, right? They're right less than a broken clock. So I take umbrage to all the fear selling. Is it possible to create a custom filter on the alerts? No custom filters for alerts, or no custom alerts, period. We can do, I even hesitate to call them custom filters. You can reference short code of the filters that exist within the system and string them together with operators to create your own filter that way. We do not have a code compiler, meaning you can't just make anything you want. You can't just change time frames, anything like that. For example, we don't have EMA data for scanning. You cannot build an EMA filter. Our RSI filters, they work on a standard 14 period, whether it's the 1 minute, 2, 5, 60, whatever we have for our RSI. You can't change that period. You can't make a different RSI in that regard. So there are, quote, custom filter abilities, but it's not a code compiler. It's simply referencing short code within the system and then stringing those short codes together with operators to create your own filter. But there's nothing for alerts. What do I mean by all this? I like this page to demonstrate it here. There's this overview page. I'll share a link of it. It has instructions about how a lot of this works. There are a few codes in there as well. There are a few short codes that are in here as well. Some of them don't exist as normal filters within the system. So, these are some short codes you can add to yourself if you wanted for data points. And then there's the majority of the codes. These are all of our filter codes in here. So you can see the code here, the units, the name of the filter, so on and so forth. And so you can create operators. Now, in case anybody's wondering, yeah, I got a bunch of customs in here. I do not use them for anything. They're just customs that from helping troubleshoot other users' scans. They're like, hey, stock XYZ didn't show in my scan. I'm like, well, you got a custom filter in there. You got to share your custom filter with me because it doesn't transfer, from one account to another. And so they're just custom filters that mostly users created. I don't know what they do, and I don't really care what they do, to be honest. It's just how that goes. So, here's an example of something. I don't know. But we're comparing the last minute to the prior 4 minutes, and it looks like this is done on a ratio here because it's divided by 5 at the end. So, so this is shares over the current shares being traded in the last minute, the current shares being traded in the current 5-minute look back. And then we're subtracting the 1 from the 5, and we're dividing it by the 5. So that's how it gets done. So I'm not a custom expert. We have limited support on this. This is kind of one of those, you want to get into the nitty gritty of it. We can help with some basics, but if you're going all crazy on this, you're on your own, and best of luck. If you want, this account management page like that for the custom formulas themselves. There you go. Globe Tech, please. What is U.S. Prime Market Transaction Level 1 account? I don't know what that means, Globe Tech. U.S. Primary Market Transactions and Level 1 account. Yeah, I don't know what you're asking for there. We're scanner. We use Level 1 data for our data points and scanning. We got 500 data points that you can custom build scans from. There's a whole lot of stuff to build scans from. So I'm scrolling back through, making sure that I haven't missed anybody's questions. It looks like we're good. You got it, Globe. I mean, if you come into the configure of an alert window, is probably better to do this because that's the alerts and filters. If you come into the configure of an alert window and you come to search, and you've got all these data points in here. I know I sound like a broken record, but there's over 500 total data points that are in here for you to create scans from. Probably about half filters, half alerts. So, do we have every single thing anybody could ever want? Nope, but we got a lot. And the idea behind having so many pre-done things like this is so the average person can come use the software and not have to know how to code. They can simply select things, give them values, and get going scanning versus trying to, code up and figure out stuff yourself. And, how does an SMA work and how does an RSI work and all those things like that. You can go with just the very basics. You don't need to understand math behind them necessarily. I don't think it hurts to understand the math behind them, but you don't want to, you don't have to. And again, anybody with any questions, don't be shy, right? Get those questions in here for me, please. They continuously say, I cannot answer the questions that are not asked. Now, I didn't look at it today, but I guess the world was ending because NVIDIA is getting beat up, right? So let me look at it for the first time today. So levels not seen since September. Very good. Now I'm curious, eternally curious. I'm going to turn this off because I like this drawing tool better without that on. Isn't that something where it's defending itself right now and where it came down to? Now, I did see that it's flirting with the 200-day or touched the 200-day. I don't have a 200-day moving average on my charts. I don't care for moving average for the most part. Just a personal preference. I used to love them. But look at this. Couldn't get through here, gets through here, defends it, gives it up. Gets back through here, gives it up. Toes the line, and right back to that line now. So I'm going to go with this 118-ish area here is of some serious significance. What is that, 118, 119? Yeah, something like that. I'm going to go with some significance. And, you know, perhaps I have a random walk hypothesis person in the crowd here. And I just like people to remember that price on stocks has memory because human beings have memory. That's how this works. Nothing random about this. I can tell you that right now. Just for fun, let's add a 200 SMA here. 200 SMA crowd. Change that color to something a little brighter here. Let's go with the red's probably in there, so showcase that. So look at that. Pierce the 200 even. Still below it now. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? But on my multi-period low of 20 days, right, didn't really get too far up above it before coming right back down here to this level once again. So make of it what you will. I mean, for all I know, we wake up and NVIDIA's down here tomorrow. For all I know, we wake up and NVIDIA's right here tomorrow. And for all anybody knows, we wake up and NVIDIA's up here tomorrow. And every person's guess is as good as the next for the most part. With that said, get some questions in here for me. Come on, don't be shy. Good to go. Surely someone must have a question for me. So please, if you've got a question, don't be shy. Fire that away at me. If not, I don't really know what else to talk about all of a sudden. We covered a lot. We covered races. We covered top lists. We covered alert windows. We covered brokerage plus. We covered some market thoughts. Covered the stock that's getting beat up. That's really kind of got the market down mostly. Covered a lot already. And as usual, I run this from noon Eastern to 1 p.m. Eastern. If there are questions still coming in at 1, I will stick around to answer those. If not, I will wrap up at 1. Now, for those that are watching and don't know, we have a live traders room, 100% free. We showcase the software there. Barry that runs it, total professional. He talks about, what to buy, sell, hold, anything like that. He shares his scans, though. He talks about charts, talks about ideas. People talking about ideas. I see stock XYZ coming through this scan and this RSI and, this here, that, the other thing. And I'm thinking about an entry at this price and stuff like that. But nobody's talking about how much money or telling anybody what to buy, sell, anything like that. So you're interested in the free traders room. Post links all around for that. Here comes the links in the Twitter side of things first. Again, there's no shenanigans in the traders room. If you come in there and you start yapping, pumping stocks, you're going to politely be asked to stop before you're banned if you just continue to do it. So I just like people to take advantage of that room. It's where I started off trading. I have no finance background whatsoever. I'm self-taught through Trade Idea software and education materials before I was lucky enough to be brought on board as a team member here. Well, you folks are giving me the silent treatment now. Please, someone ask a question. Surely someone out there must have a question for me relating to the Trade Ideas platform. Heck, we could just look at a chart if someone wants to look at one. Find this interesting. Here's S. We'll talk about S. It's on my liked list. I traded this a while back, had one okay trade in it, but I've continued to watch it. And, it's up today. What can I say? A lot of things are down, and this is up. In fact, it's gapped down and reversed to become positive on the day. Right? Not just up from the open, but it's up from the prior close even, right? It's fading now. We'll see if it can hold on to its gains or not. I think it's some kind of security information security, computer security, some crap like that. I don't know. Excuse me. Um, Grand scheme of things, pretty far off all-time highs. How much did I make by day trading before I joined the company? $0.00. I made no money day trading before I became a Trade Ideas employee. Trading's hard. Trading's real hard. I eke out some wins on my day trading now. My first wins came as a swing trader, and that took me about 2 years before that happened. I would say I didn't first start having my. You know what? Wait. No, yeah. It was probably closer to. I was probably making a few dollars. And when I say making a few dollars, I mean making a few dollars day trading. Probably about 3 or 4 months before I came on to the team here at Trade Ideas. But that was the second half of 2020 when you could have picked Scrabble pieces out of a bag and made money, right? I mean, like everything was going up from, whatever time in May of 2020 until, I don't know, till sometime in 2021 or whatever. That was a ridiculous bull market. So I don't know how much of that had anything to do with me being more disciplined with my trading and how much it was really just a insane bull market, if I'm being completely honest. I did start having some moderate swing trade wins about 2 years into me using the software, but I wasn't part of the Trade Ideas staff at that time. I started using the software in July of 2017. I discovered the software in April of 2017. I attended webinars in the trading room for months and months and months, doing homework to understand trading talk, SMA, ZMA, all that stuff like that. I really wanted to have an understanding of trading and indicators and charts before I invested any money in a trading tool. And then in July of 2017, I decided it was time to pull the trigger. And I did. And I proceeded to lose money for about 2 years. And then sometime in August of 2019-ish or so, I started to get more discipline with how I was trading and stops and things like that. And I went from consistently losing to like consistently breaking even. I think that was about August of 2019, give or take. And then probably towards the end of 2019, November, December, something like that, I started eking out more swing trade wins than losses. Continue to do so. I gradually improve. I do not improve at the rate I would like to be honest. My trading is not where I believe it should be, but work in progress, all those things like that. So I will not be buying any Lamborghinis. I will not be flying private jets. No beach homes in Ibiza or something like that. None of that's currently in my future per trading, but try to be better than I was yesterday, better than I was last week, better than I was last month, so on and so forth. I like to be real, There's a lot of people out there flashing all kinds of crazy crap that they're doing, and I think it's safe to say that basically they're all full of it. But that's for them and not my concern. So, all right, folks, we're approaching the 1 o'clock hour here. If there are no other questions coming in, I'm going to begin to wrap up for the day here. Again, if questions come in, I will stick around, but if not, I'm gonna call it a day here. We were fast and furious with the questions for so long, and kind of fell out on the bottom here. So, last few sessions that I've done, I've gone overtime, 15, 20, 30. I was here till 1:30 on Friday with you folks. So, again, I'm willing to do that if the questions come in. If not, obviously not. Appreciate that, Alex. I hope you do the same thing. Great day, great week. I don't know if I'll be back doing another live stream this week or not. I know that for sure our CEO Dan will be doing Wednesdays. If anybody's around for Wednesday with Dan, I highly recommend it. there's nobody more on the cutting edge of all the stuff we're doing on the as far as the management and development decisions than Dan is. And I just think, first off, he loves to interact with users the most he can. He's got 1,001 things going on all the time, so this gives him a great chance to interact with users. And I think users appreciate having access to a CEO like that. How many companies are really doing that, on a regular basis? So if anybody's around Wednesday, I can say for sure, unless Dan gets sick or something like that, Dan will be here Wednesday. So again, I would highly recommend joining him for that. I don't think you'll regret it. Outside of that, I don't know who's going to be doing what. It'll be some mix of Andy and Steve the rest of the week. And, I may sneak back in here for a second day. I don't know if one of them will pick up a second day. We'll see how that all shakes out as the week goes on. But I would just encourage folks to keep coming to these, keep asking questions. That's the key, is education. At some point, yes, the education has to be applied. But, if you don't have a trading plan to apply it to, you can have all the greatest data in the world, but if you ain't got a plan on how to use it, it's all for nothing, right? Good way is to focus on good trades, then money. That's exactly it. You should be focusing on what you consider to be quality setups and the quality risk management that you've implemented in on those quality setups and executing it from there. And if that's not what you're doing, you're gambling. It's really short and simple. I get very, very, very annoyed when people tell me that trading is gambling. It bothers me to no end. But people have their, I'm going to call them ignorant views on the market, and so be it, and let them not participate. Folks that are willing to understand and implement and test risk management, those will be the ones that get to benefit from this kind of thing, right? So, all right, we're at 101. No new questions have come in. I'll share one more time the link to the traders room. Again, if you are not in the traders room, I truly do believe you're doing yourself a disservice. But that's, up to each individual. Barry is the best in the business. I would stake everything against that. And again, noon Eastern through 1 p.m. Eastern, market days, we do this here for them just like that. So I thank you all very kindly for the interactions, the questions, the comments. This is really how it's done right here, is to get that education and then, hopefully applying it afterwards. So very exciting stuff. Appreciate you all being here. You have a wonderful rest of your Monday. If I don't see you again till next week, you have a wonderful rest of your week as well. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.